Hey, everybody.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Hey, we're making her. Just got here.
Sweet.
So let's see. Does it sound okay, Linda? How's the sound?
Yeah, sounds good.
It's good. Let's see. Got a couple more coming in.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good here.
Good.
Plugging along. Hey, Chris.
Chris, you're muted, I think. Are you muted?
I don't think so.
Am I now?
No, you're not. Now you're good.
Okay. Sorry about my appearance. Was laying hardwood floor with my son.
Sounds like a good job.
Hurts the neck.
Yeah. I'm finding out this week, so do working hives. I'm so out of shape.
Yeah. Tammy's on.
I'm here.
Richard, I'm going to make you a co-host, I think.
Okay.
Yep, I got you on.
There's Tom.
I just admitted somebody there.
That's fine. Yep.
Okay. I didn't know if that came up on your screen.
There's no secret password or anything. So
Okay.
yeah, when they come up, I'll see them as well too. So we're
Okay. I'll just.
Yep, we'll get them.
So who got to work bees this week?
Hey, I did. I got out there and fed them some patties, and I got some bees still alive at least.
Good.
I got through mine Saturday.
It was so nice out. It was fun.
It was a good day.
They were really busy, man. They were out full force.
You can tell by the looks of my truck too that they were out in full force.
Yeah. We got a good showing tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Do we have a lot?
Yeah.
We got 19 so far. And it's, yeah, we still got 10 minutes yet.
Were you at a horse show, Doc?
Horse sale.
Sale? Okay.
Yeah. We're out in the middle of central Illinois.
Did
Oh,
you
it's
sell it
fun.
or buying?
We ended up buying.
Yeah.
We brought a few of them home.
How many you got now?
I don't know for sure. You must be echoing on Gary's little computer as well, I bet.
I think I'll go in the other room so we aren't.
Oh, sit over here. It's kind of,
Oh, it's all right. We were in the same room and he put his computer on and I'm on the phone. Are we not echoing now?
You're better now, but you're good.
I went in the bedroom so he can be in the living room.
Does he always just push you? He always pushes you out of the rooms like that? I mean,
That's all right.
I'm unmuted now.
oh.
Hi, honey.
Oh my God. Can't take him anywhere.
Nope.
How's Gary doing tonight?
Hey, things are pretty good. Can't complain.
Good.
Is it still echoey, Mike? I can turn my microphone off.
I don't hear it. Linda, do you hear it or anything?
Gary kind of sounds like he's in a chamber, but Annie
Wow.
sounds good.
What kind of chamber are you in, Gary?
Yeah.
The dog
I'm-
chamber.
Yeah,
I'm in the secret room.
you're in the doghouse, huh?
Oh,
Hey, Tammy, I'll get you more information on that Josh.
okay,
He is from Chatfield, so down by Attica.
okay.
So you're dealing with him, Linda?
Yeah, I can. Not a problem.
Well, he sent me an email tonight and I didn't know that he had reached out to you as well. So
Oh, okay.
that's fine. Go ahead.
Well,
I
you're-
got this, I got another one too that wants to take the class. So,
The second class is filling up.
yeah.
That's why I thought I'd tell you quick. Cause I'd
I've
kind
got
of
a
like,
few
to-
people. I got a few people. I think at least 3 I need to see if they can come on the 17th. Cause they already sent their form in on the 10th before we got the 17th one up. So I'll
Okay.
just start calling people and see if they can move. If they don't mind.
Tom, that it was Hives for Heroes that contacted me. I don't
Yeah.
know.
They've been contacting me as well. So,
Okay,
yeah. It don't make a difference who they contact. That's fine. We get them in the class. That's great.
yeah.
Where are they located at? Is this a national group?
It's,
or-
it's a national organization, but not every state offers it.
I see.
Is it
And
for
I just,
veterans?
Yeah.
pardon?
Is it for veterans?
Yeah, it's to help them like with PTSD and
Hmm.
some of that stuff.
To tell Cole
I
about
can,
that.
I can send you guys a link. The VA has a blog and they posted about it. It's kind of interesting.
I bet it is.
Anyhow, I signed up for it a few weeks ago. I thought, well, if we had one in the area, I'd help, not a big deal, give them some bees or whatever.
Right.
And I was just surprised today because I got 2 names. I don't know where the girl's from.
You got the girl's name as well?
Yeah, Victoria, but
Victoria.
I don't know her last name.
McGinnis. McGinnis. I've already reached out to her and I sent
Oh,
her,
okay.
I sent her a registration form and I got this Joshua is supposed to call me tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't know he had reached out to you or I wouldn't have got involved in it. So,
Well, I didn't, he just did this. Well, like I said, it really wasn't him. It was the Hives for Heroes.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
if you want to handle that, I mean, I'll help, whatever. I don't care who does it.
okay, well, I'll talk to him tomorrow and I'll send him a registration form. And
Okay.
then he'll come to the 17th class and we'll meet him then and we can talk more about it then. Yeah, this girl,
Okay.
she's from Wakeman.
From Wakeman?
Wakeman, yes.
Okay.
But
We're all quiet now.
Yeah.
Look at all of us sitting around in our easy chairs.
Yep.
You get to sit home where it's comfortable without a mask, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
they're easy to get into, but not easy to get out of.
The mask or the chair?
And Gary obviously doesn't know that he doesn't go to the hive and wear black gloves.
That was kind of an accident. I was wearing winter gloves. I never, it was a last minute thought to help that hive out by cleaning out their entrance, and boy, that pissed them off.
They think you're a big bad bear.
Oh, man, I must have had 25 bees on each of my gloves.
Oh, wow.
And then he brings them back to the car for Jenna.
Oh, great.
That was not real were told about having bees in the car.
Oh,
They were hanging on his pant legs, I think.
Ooh, that could have been worse.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, at least that snow's melted off down at that bee yard. The first time we walked back in there, man, it was up over your knees, and man, I worked up a sweat just getting back to the hives.
Oh, I bet. I'm lucky. Mine are it's all sand. So I drove back there without too much of an issue at all.
Wow.
Draining pretty well.
Gary's just gonna have to start working out so he can keep up with Tammy.
I can't even get him to walk with me.
I don't know. I think you gotta be careful how you waste those beats in your heart.
Mm.
Oh my.
You
Only
gotta
get so
build
many,
that
huh?
muscle.
Yeah.
When you're born, you get that number stamped on your heart. This is how many beats you get, and that's it.
Don't want to use them on frivolous things. I mean,
That's right, buddy.
Mhm.
we're up to 24.
That's good.
I see Chris Earnhardt's there.
Yeah, I'm here in my cavern.
Yeah.
It's really a shame that I've remodeled my basement. Now I got to turn it into my home office.
How do we pay our dues?
Who asked that?
Erica,
Erica and Art, Tom.
Erica, when did you become a member?
I became a member in 1999.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I was looking at hear the last name. We waived the dues for 2021. If you paid your dues in 2020, they are carried over for 21.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Go back
any-
to sleep, Art.
I know I'm laying in bed. What's the news on bee packages?
What's the news on beef packages? They're
Yes.
gonna, I have 3 dates, the 17th, I got 2 dates in April and 1 date in May. They're 119 for a package, 3-pound package. They're Wednesday pickups.
Can I get one?
Yeah,
Thanks.
well.
With the queen.
With the queen.
You're gonna have to go online and order it, and then I'll go down and pick it up. I don't handle the money or place the orders.
Information.
do we just go on the club
Old,
website?
well, yeah, it is in the classifieds. Or you want to write down this website?
Yeah, tell me a second.
You guys can see me in.
Yeah,
They look adorable.
Hey, Gary, what's up?
how you doing?
Tammy and Gary, do you guys have any nukes that'll be ready in the spring?
No,
Just
I'm
Tom,
not,
huh?
yeah, we're not gonna
Just
do it ahead
Tom.
of time.
How many nukes you got, Tom?
That's Tom.
Tom, what's that website?
Okay, the website is www.old drone DRONE,
Thank
all-
you.
Yeah, what you do is you go to that site and then you'll have the Clyde pickup. And then you pick the date that you want. There's 3 dates. And then you send the guy the money and then he'll go down to Georgia, bring the bees back. Then that day I go down to Dayton and I'll pick up the bees and I bring them back to my house.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep, and I'm always home by 1 o'clock if everything goes well, and that's it. As far as the who asked about packages, I was given 40 packages or 40 nukes to sell this year, and I'm at 41 right now. So I don't know if I can get any more nukes to sell right now or not. But I can put your name on a list, and if you want some nukes, I can get with you if somebody cancels or backs out of theirs.
All right, Tommy, you can put me on the list.
For how many?
1.
Okay.
I just want the jump start.
Okay, well, it's a little after 7 o'clock, and we'll get this started. I really don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight. We do have a nice presentation that's going to be put on by Jackie and Richard Kindred on pollinators, right? Pollination or pollinators. And
Right. We'll be talking about plants and pollinators.
okay. And the only thing that I just wanted to tell the club is that on April 10th and April 17th, we're going to have 2 in-person bee classes. What we've done is really limited participants down to 10 people. And we really don't want to have extra people standing around in the back room like we have in the past because of COVID and health department regulations. Everybody's going to have to wear a mask and stay socially distant from each other. But for the April 10th class, we got 10 people already. That's full. And the April 17th class, we've got 5 so far. And we're probably going to have a couple more. As everybody in the club knows that we had 2 members pass away here, Jim Tansey and then Ken Kaiser. The Tansey family, they had requested that any monies that they wanted to be donated to the Tansey family to be donated to the Sandusky River Valley Bee Club and or the fire department. And I think as of today's date, we've got maybe right around $300 that was donated to the Sandusky River Valley Bee Club in memory of Jim Tansey's name. We thank the family for the donation. I mean, it's terrible. I'd much rather have Jim around. Everybody, Jim was well liked by everybody in the club. What we've done with this money is earmarked it for education for the B class. And what we've got involved in is this, it's called Hives for Heroes. It's disabled veterans that have disabilities. Some have the, what is it, PTSD?
PTSD.
PTSD.
Okay, all right. Have that. And what we've got a lady and a guy that are both interested that are the lady's from Wakeman, Ohio, and the guy is from Chatfield, Ohio. And they're both interested in taking the B class. So what we've decided to do is to use some of this money, and it's going to pay their way through the B class. And so that's set up for April 17th. Both of those individuals will be at the B class. As far as anything else goes, I don't know if anybody's got any questions or anything that's going on. I don't know when we're ever going to get back together. I think we're going to have to wait till majority of everybody gets this vaccines that are coming out. If you're up to getting it. I don't know what's happening with the church. I haven't been up there in a while to see if they're going to even want us back in there. I know they were turned earlier because way of cleaning the facility after we left. So they don't have janitors or a custodial service. So they didn't want us into church. Let's see, I kind of openly talked about my beehives as far as selling bee packages and then nukes this year. I'm kind of limited out already on my nukes, but I will take names to put them on a list. If somebody backs out, then I'll have a nuke that they could purchase if they wanted it. Bee packages I think they're $117 for a bee package this year. The nukes are $170. Other than that, any questions or anything like that? Anybody have anything?
I'm signed up for the CLABSI in April, the 10th. And
Yeah.
should we bring bee suits as well?
If you have them, yes. It just depends on the weather, if we're gonna go outside and do anything. I think it's primarily gonna be classroom work for that particular day. And then I think as the weather breaks in end of April, first part of May, we'll try to get everybody together again and we'll go through the beehives. Gary and Tammy, they got quite a few hives around their property there, and we'll probably set up some hives and we'll go through and show you the different stages of the hive as far as eggs, and maybe find the queen, and different stages of larvae, drones, and different things like that.
That'd be
So
wonderful.
yeah, if you could bring it with you, just in case. I don't know if we're gonna have time to go out or not, because we got a lot to cover and it's gonna be a long day as it is. So
Better to have it and not need it than need it.
that's
and not
exactly
need
right. Yeah, doesn't hurt to throw it in the car with you. Any other
it.
questions?
Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess not. I think tonight, then we'll just get underway with our presentation tonight by the Kindreds. And Doc, I'll turn it over to you to turn it over to the Kindreds.
Yep, they're all set.
Okay,
Hey, Mike, is there any way I can record this?
It's recording now on mine,
Okay.
so I'll have it. Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
hey, is that coming up on everybody's screen okay?
Looks
Yep.
perfect. Yep.
Everybody can hear me pretty clear?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. A few things around on my screen.
Hey, if anybody has any questions, there is a chat button in Zoom. I don't know if you guys, have anybody been able to find that or understand what it is. You know, if we could hold a lot of the questions off till the end, unless it's really necessary that you need to ask at that time. That way we'll just keep this rolling here well. And then we'll have questions and answers at the end of the presentation.
I can answer questions as they come up in the chat also.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, I would hope that you would, because I don't know.
Okay. Just lost you there.
Do you know what you're doing, Mr. Kindred?
I just got it back. I was wondering. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to our presentation tonight. Thanks, Tom, for asking us. And like they said, if there's any questions going through the program, just put them in the chat. And Jackie will log those. We'll talk about them at the end, or she may field some of those during the presentation. So we got a pretty good sized group tonight. That's good. We're going to talk about plants and pollinators. Am I getting an echo on that end at all?
No, it sounds, I'm not hearing anything here. Looks good. Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
We're going to run through the first portion here fairly quick. My screen's not advancing.
Go on the presentation part there. See that on the bottom there of your screen, right next to that volume thing, just hit that and it'll go in presentation mode. There you go. Now you're ready.
A little better?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, we're going to talk about plants and pollinators tonight. Some of the things we're going to talk about, we're going to share some facts. We're going to look at plants and bees and their delicate relationship. What are native plants and some Ohio examples. Talk about pollinator garden tips and considerations for those that want to put pollinator gardens in. We'll look at some Ohio pollinator plants, trees, and shrubs. We'll look at what attracts bees, hummingbirds, butterflies, and kind of look at some of their larvae and host plants. We'll look at pollinator gardens, some of the plants that you kind of need to look at before putting gardens in. We'll look at some of the seed and plant sources, and then we'll just do a little presentation summary. A lot of common pollinators, if we were asked to name pollinators, some of you might only be able to name a dozen, 2 dozen, maybe 100. Some of the common ones, ants, bats, bees, beetles, butterflies, moths, mosquitoes. There's lots of pollinators. Some of the facts, scientists estimate there's 200,000 to 300,000 different animal species that help pollination. There's 866 insects in Ohio. Many of these are pollinators, and of these, most of you know the honeybee is the most important. Bees pollinate up to 1/6 of all flowering plants in the world. More than 1/3 of all crop species in the United States depend on the honeybee pollination, and they contribute $15 billion a year into the U.S. food crop industry. So not only are they important for food, but also to the financial industry of the world. Many of us have local gardens. Some of the local things that we have, tomatoes, beans, peppers, squash, the list goes on and on. These are all local plants that we have. We wouldn't have any of this without pollinators. Many of our fruits, apples, peaches, pears, likewise, without pollinators in our area, we wouldn't have any of this stuff. This is a list of crop plants pollinated by bees. This is one list. That list could go on and on, page after page. About 90% of it is human foods, but there's other things on there that are livestock feeds. You have alfalfa, and then there's textiles, things like cotton. If you look at all the things that are made out of cotton, that would definitely change the world if cotton plants weren't getting pollinated. The fragile relationship between plants and bees. As beekeepers, most of you totally understand this concept, but there's many people that don't. Without the bees, there'd be a lot of plants that wouldn't get pollinated, and they wouldn't exist from year to year. They wouldn't reproduce. And then without the plants in the area, the bees wouldn't have nectar and honey for their survival. If you increase one or the other, it has a dramatic effect of what goes on in your area as far as the plants or the bees. Plants are used for a lot of different things other than food. They're important for medicines, shelter, dyes, soaps, gums, just a list of things that we would be without if we didn't have pollinators. We take a look at native plants. What are native plants? Those are plants that have adapted to the local climate, soil conditions over a period of time. They occur naturally. What has existed, it's kind of survival of the fittest. This has gone on not for just decades or centuries, but thousands of years. These plants have become accustomed and survived within a certain region. Each region's a little different. Most of them don't require fertilizers, pesticides. They require little water. They survive when there's a lot of rain. They survive in droughts. And for this reason, a lot of people choose these plants to put in their gardens for pollinators. They're easy keepers, they're inexpensive, and take very little work because you don't have to add a lot of soil amendments. Just take very little maintenance and care. Ohio native pollinator plants. There's over 14,000 different native plants in Ohio. Of these, a good share are good pollinator plants, not all of them. We show a few here, some of the better ones. You'll recognize everything is in common names rather than scientific names here. A little more convenient. Butterfly weed, you have field thistle, although most people don't want field thistle in their gardens. It is extremely invasive. Purple coneflower, Joe Pye weed, going down the list. Spotted bee balm, Virginia mountain mint, very good pollinators. A lot of the lists and things that I'll have on here we'll have on hand for anybody that needs some of this information. You'll be able to get this at the end of the presentation or give me an email and I can get it to you. Some pollinator garden tips. Why do we want native plants in our gardens, flowering plants? Because of the ease, the cheapness of the plants. They're good pollinators, but each region has its own different native plants. You need to do a little bit of research and see what plants are good for your area. If you order plants, make sure you see what is for your area. You may get plants online that come from maybe California or down south. Those would be totally different than what you would be putting in. So another garden tip, provide water for your pollinators. All pollinators like water close by. Those of you who have bees know this. If there's rivers, creeks, ponds, anything, if not, you put a small pond in, you put a small tray in, just put water in it. Make sure you put stones in or sometimes sponge for butterflies so they don't drown. But water draws a lot of pollinators and they learn where this water hole is, and it'll also help your garden a lot. So if you want to attract hummingbirds into your pollinator gardens, plant shrubs, nectar feeders, put nectar feeders in, make sure they're bee proof or they'll be taking all the water nectar back, the sugar water back to their hives. Native bees, good pollinators. You can draw them in a lot by adding nesting tunnels. Some people add the tunnel homes. If you have trees nearby, tubes, some of them like open sand. If you're looking to attract butterflies, look at what specific host plants are needed that draws butterflies. What are host plants? Host plants are the plants that butterflies lay their eggs on. They hatch out into their larvae and then the larvae feed on these plants. Like your monarch specifically is the milkweed. Each butterfly has its own specific 1 or 2, 3, sometimes 5 plants that they'll lay eggs on. They'll search these out. And if you have them in your garden, you'll draw a lot more butterflies. We kind of need to look at what the purpose of your garden is, whether you just want to draw pollinators, whether you want a more attractive garden, or you want some type of balance in between. Those are things to take into consideration when you're putting your garden in. Some native wildflowers are deer unappetizing. You may have deer as a problem in your area. Some of you have rabbits, or you may have some other types of critters. There are certain wildflowers that repel some of these wild animals in your area. And of course, being bee people, you know, don't use pesticides in your pollinator gardens. Pollinator gardening considerations. What varieties of wildflowers are native to your area? Do your research, see what grows plentiful and easy in your area. Before you start your garden, kind of look at, do you have a set budget? Things to consider, how big are you going to make your garden? Depends on how many seeds you're going to need, how many plants you're going to need. Determines what types of tools, whether you'll be using hand tools or whether you'll need power tools for your garden. Do you have the tools you need, depending on the size? And that could be an ongoing expense. What pollinators do you actually want to attract in your gardens? Are you looking for bees, butterflies, hummingbirds? Do you need specific host plants or nectar plants? Host plants we talked about a little bit. The nectar plants are what the mature butterflies feed on later. If you put either one of these in, you'll draw a lot more butterflies to your garden. Do you want to start with seeds or start with plants? There's an advantage to both. If you start with seeds, it's a lot more inexpensive. Seeds can be applied in the fall time, freeing up some of your springtime, and we'll talk about that just a little bit later. Will you need pollinator apparel? You know, what types of waters do you put in? Do you need different types of, will you put a beehive in your garden area? Hummingbird feeders, native bee areas, tube house. You kind of need to look at where you're going to end up when your garden's done. All this stuff enters in and you put that all into your budget. Sometimes we don't realize all the expenses that go along with putting a pollinator garden in. Also in your pollinator garden, some people actually use that for a dual purpose, and they'll put vegetables in their garden. A lot of vegetables are good pollinator drawers. And for those that have vegetable gardens, you may have issues in your garden and be looking to put more pollinator plants in your garden to produce better vegetables in your garden, more of them. You may be putting pollinator gardens near. Some other things to look at, stop using pesticides in your garden. Don't use overhead watering in your garden. It tends to leave the leaves moist, especially if you're watering later in the day, and you'll get a lot more fungus in your garden. It also draws a lot of invasive insects to your garden. Water along your baselines rather than your leaves, and water early in the day. Things to take into consideration before planting seed or selecting plants. You need to look at your soil type. Do you have sand, silt, clay? Sand tends to dry out. The nourishment tends to be a little bit lower in the ground. If you have clay, tends to be a little bit more wet a lot of the time. Different plants grow in different types of soil. You need to look at your moisture levels. Are you in a low level or a high level that tends to be more wet or more dry during the summer seasons? All affects the type of plants that you put in. Look at your pH in your soils. Different plants like maybe a neutral pH or a higher pH. Look at the amount of sunlight. Do your plants like full sun, which is maybe 6 or more hours of full sun a day? Do Do they like partial sun, which would be 2 to 4 hours a day? Or is it more of a shade area? Where are you actually putting your garden in? Are you next to trees, next to buildings, something that would shadow? These are all kind of things that you kind of need to look at before you put your garden in. Look at the location. Is it convenient? Are you going to be hauling tools back and forth? As far as watering, if you need to water, are you within hose distance? Will you be carrying buckets? Will you be carrying bigger tanks? Those are all things that add into the ongoing maintenance and the time that you'll be putting in. Look at the colors of your flowers. Bees, purple, blue, violets. They like bright colors, whites, yellows. Your hummingbirds, red, oranges. All these things you kind of need to look at depending on what pollinators you want to draw. Also look at your season of bloom. Look around your area and see what else you have in your immediate area. See what time you may need to supply more nutrients to your bees or whatever pollinators you're trying to feed. Maybe early in the spring you need more, maybe fall time, maybe during a dark time during the summer. Look to see what all is available within your given area if you need to cover some of those gaps in between. Look at the height of your plants. Tend to put your larger plants, taller plants toward the center of a walk-around garden or toward the back of a walk-up garden or near a building. It makes it easier for your pollinators to have access. It also gives you more flowering plants because things aren't crowded out that way as much. Just some little things to look at before you actually put your pollinator gardens in. Here's a list of a lot of the local pollinator plants in this area. A lot of them might look familiar. Purple coneflower, sunflower, that's a midsummer, later summer blooming. Goldenrod, more of a fall time. Bee balm is a great pollinator. You go down through here, the list. Fennel tends to draw black swallowtails. It depends what your purpose is and which plants you actually put in. And I won't go into a lot of detail on these plants. Anybody that needs more information, I have all that you will need. Just get with me. Choosing nectar or pollen-rich flowers with a range of shapes, sizes, and colors. Diversity is the key to a good pollinator garden. The more diverse you are, the more pollinators you'll have. Different pollinators like different types of plants, different depths of faces on your plants, different sizes, different shapes, different colors. Diversity is the key. This is just a quick list of what they call the top 23 pollinator plants. You'll see a lot of familiar plants if you look down through there. Anybody that does plants. Marigolds, they are a little deterrent. You can use those to repel a little bit some of your critters, maybe your deer, maybe your rabbits. None of this stuff works 100%, but it does help. Lavender, great bee pollinator plant. Your milkweed, of course, your monarch butterflies. Yarrow, your sunflower. Go down through this list. Your goldenrod, which is a fall time plant, helps with your bees, other pollinators in the fall time. I'm sure you won't have time to write some of these down, so anybody that needs this information, just get with me. Northwest Ohio pollinator plants. There's some of the more common ones. You have perennials. If you put those in your garden, they tend to bloom on their own, repeat year after year, at least 2 years or more. Some of the common ones, Ester, hyssop, milkweed, purple coneflower. Then you have some of your annuals. Some people like annuals. They reproduce annually by seeds. They depend on your pollinators from year to year. They reproduce by seed from year to year. You have your herbs, some such as your basil, your catmint, lavender. These are highly scented plants that draw a lot of pollinators. Kind of a dual purpose plant also. You can use them for medicinal purposes. You can use them as food additives, flavoring. So kind of a dual purpose to put in your garden. These are just a few of the more common ones. Ohio trees and shrubs for pollinators. When people put their gardens in, some of you don't really look around to see what's in your area. Trees are great pollinators. They supply a large volume of pollen and nectar, such as your maple trees, crabapple, linden trees, serviceberry. All these are springtime pollinating trees, anywhere from late April to late May, different plants. Maple kind of depends on your springtime coming in. A great pollinator tree. There's a lot of good pollinator trees. Also shrubs. Look around, a lot of wild shrubs to see if you live near a woods, near a thicket, if you have neighbors that have different plants. These all provide for your pollinators. Trees and shrubs provide a lot of pollen and nectar. Here we have a lot of bee attracting plants. These tend to draw bees in large volumes because of their color, because of their nectar, because of their scent. For whatever reason, these tend to draw more bees. When you're putting your gardens in, search out your native bee-friendly plants that attract bees. These are some. Plant bee-friendly flowers in color blocks. Bees like color in blocks rather than just at random. They do well with just random plants, but if you want to attract more bees, put them in color blocks. Doesn't have to be large blocks. They tend to get drawn to a certain flower. They will clean up that whole flower and collect their pollen from that flower until it's pretty well cleaned up, and then move on to the next color. They like color blocks. Offer ample source of water to your bee gardens. We talked a little about that. Avoid using herbicides and pesticides. If you have any plants that maybe vine a little bit or like climbing, add boulders to your gardens. Bees are attracted to different heights. Different pollinators are attracted to different heights. Some people add boulders as climbing devices. Also adds a lot of beauty to your gardens. Next one's kind of controversial for some people. Some people want a really clean garden. They want no weeds, nothing added to their gardens. And some people want to appreciate the beauty of weeds in their gardens, such things as dandelion, clover, loosestrife, milkweed, goldenrod. You have to consider they're all a good source of food for your bees or a lot of other pollinators. Some of the things to remember, your bees are attracted to the colors purple, violet, and blue. They like bright colors in clumps. They like sweet scents. They don't like black. They do not see the color red. They see red as black. They like water sources, and they like lots of sunshine. So when you're putting your gardens in, kind of think about some of these things if you're trying to attract bees. Ten best plants that attract birds. Most of us in this area, you may be looking at some songbirds, but we're looking at the hummingbird Most of us enjoy watching that. There's 10 plants listed here that really attract hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are American continental bird. They migrate from clear down south to clear up north on a regular basis annually. There are over 300 different species. So it's kind of neat to just sit back and watch hummingbirds and watch the different types. They like red, they like bright orange, they will tackle other colors. They like deep-throated flowers. It works out well with their long beaks. Some of these flowers are really common going down through here. Bee balm, salvia, bleeding heart. Skipping down through trumpet creeper, trumpet vine. Word of caution, anybody that puts trumpet vine in, it's very invasive. So it travels by rhizome and you'll be digging it out of your garden, out of your yard, if you have it in for several years. Those interested in butterflies as pollinator. 6 of the most common butterflies in Ohio. One of them is the monarch. That's shown in the top left. Here in the bottom right, you have the viceroy, which is very similar and mistaken as the monarch many times. The only difference is the radius black line going across the back portion of the wings. Painted lady, which is smaller butterfly. And then the other 3 are different varieties of the swallowtail. And we talked a little bit about if you wanted butterflies, that you needed to put in host plants. Example, your monarch butterfly likes milkweed. They'll lay their eggs on the bottom side of the leaf. That'll hatch out, and the larva, which is shown below here in the bottom right, will eat from that plant and then continue on from there on its life cycle. The black swallowtail is shown here in the left bottom, its larva up on the top. Its host plant, parsley, celery, carrot, and dill. Each butterfly has its own host plants. If you're looking for a certain type of butterfly, look up to see what host plants you need to put in your garden. They also have nectar plants that they feed on, the mature butterflies. If you put nectar plants in, you'll draw butterflies throughout the adulthood of their life cycle. These are the top 6 in Ohio. Pollinator garden plan. For those of you wanting to put pollinator gardens in, I know several of you have talked to me about this. Research what wildflowers are native to your area. Decide what percentage you want in your garden of the native plants. What pollinators you want to attract. Do a little research. Set your budget. Decide what you really have available to spend. And that will contribute to your garden size. Do your layout. Remove your grass, whether you do it by digging up your grass, whether you do it by laying something over the top and use the heat method to kill out your grass, whether you use herbicide. Amend your soil and turn the soil slightly on the top. A word of caution, watch which amendments you use if you have native plants. Native plants tend to not like too much different than normal soil. That's what they're accustomed to. You can plant your seeds in late fall after the first frost. You do this while the ground's cold so that your seeds don't germinate until the following spring. You can also put your seeds in early spring. There's an advantage to putting them in the fall time. Your plants will actually germinate about 2 weeks earlier than if planted in the spring. Gives you a little bit of a jump start, gives you a little less work to do in the spring. Some of you prefer to put in plant starts. Do this after the last frost and the ground has warmed up, preferably air temperatures over 40 degrees. Water, if dry, usually look at once a week unless you're having a really dry, hot time. Average is an inch a week of water. Some plants prefer a little less, some a little more. When you have seeds that are germinating, make sure that the seeds stay moist all the time. Not over water, but just moist. Weed your gardens regularly. Good rule of thumb, once a week, mid-May through mid-June. Twice a week, July to August, and after August, once a month. And if you do this, you'll have a nice clean garden throughout the summer. And if you follow through, it'll make a lot easier garden to take care of, a lot less maintenance the following year. Garden pollinator plant and seed sourcing. Search out and collect native seeds and plants from your area. Might be field, might be along the ditch. Just be cautious you don't get invasive plants and that you get healthy plants. Share with local pollinator garden enthusiasts. If you have neighbors that have gardens, don't overlook, share some plants. You can contact local garden clubs for information on availability. They have plant swap meets a lot. They share a lot of plants. They all have gardens and many of them are very willing to share and also very valuable for information. You can purchase native seed packets from your local nurseries or from distant nurseries based on your location. Again, making sure you get plants or seeds for your location. Purchase starter plants from local nurseries. They can give you a lot of information as to what will grow best within your area, depending on your soils. And also Ohio State Beekeepers Association. And as Master Gardens, we don't really recommend companies or brand names, but I can tell you that Ohio State Beekeepers Association meets up with Ohio Prairie Nursery, and they have a lot of pollinator packets that are very good. I've purchased some of these myself. They have one in particular, Ohio Pollinator Oasis Seed Packet. It's not expensive. They're about $16.95 a packet. They cover like 250 square feet. They each have colorful native perennial blooms that bloom from spring through fall the entire season. And they have about 28 different varieties of seeds for plants in that packet. Gives you a really good starter packet for in your gardens. I have a couple of them in and I'm anxiously waiting for those to come up this spring. I did put them in last fall. One thing to always make sure of is that you're getting quality plants and seeds from a reputable source. No weed seed mixed in, no invasive plants mixed in. It raises havoc in your gardens after you're planted. Little disappointing, a lot more work. In summary, we shared some pollinator facts. We talked briefly about the delicate relationship of plants and pollinators, specifically bees. Most of you already know about this relationship, being bee people. We described what native plants were, gave you some Ohio examples. Anybody needing more information on any of this, please get with me. I can supply a lot of information. We looked at presented pollinator garden tips and considerations, things to think about before putting your gardens in. So took a look at Ohio pollinator plants, trees, and shrubs, and there's many more than what we had listed here, but something to take into consideration when you're putting your gardens in. Look at what attracts bees, hummingbirds, or butterflies, or whatever it is that you want to attract to your garden before you put it in. We talked about pollinator garden plans, some of the things that you need to think about. make your life a little easier, a little less maintenance, and enjoy your gardens a little more if you do a little bit of research up front. And we looked at plant and seed sources. Whoops, I skipped by one. Let me see if I can get that one back here. No, I cannot.
If you just hit your arrow back key, should take it back, I think.
I got it. Yeah, that was just some of the resources for some of you. Let me see if I can bring that up. There we go. The first one was native plants in your region by zip code. From anywhere in the United States, you can put your zip code into this website and it'll give you the native plants for your given area. Very helpful. The next site shows host plants for butterflies, moths that are native to your area. Would tell you which plants you maybe wanted to put in to draw more butterflies. The next site, selecting plants for pollinators you would like to see. If you have specific pollinators you want in your garden, this will tell you what to put in. And the last site on there gives you a list of deer-resistant native plants. A lot of people ask about that. Just kind of a quick resource. There's a lot of resources out there. Anybody that needs more information on any of that stuff, please ask. We have pretty much an unlimited resource from Ohio State University. So if we don't have answers for you, we can get them. On this page, it shows Jackie and my emails. Anybody that has questions after tonight, needs information, needs a copy of anything in the presentation, needs anything further in depth about plants,
Good job.
drop us a line and we'll be more than happy to get back with you and let you know about some of those things. As master gardeners, like I say, we don't have answers to every question. Each of us kind of has our own little niche of things that we like. We work together as a group and put that information together. When we don't have information, we know where to go to get it. We have a lot of resources. So with that, I'd like to just kind of open it up for maybe questions. Jackie will be there to answer some questions. I'd like to say thank you to Tom Rathman for asking us, and also for Mike for helping us with the technical end of it. And thank you to everybody for participating tonight and supporting your local bee club. Very important. So
Okay, there is a website. I just happened to find it on an email from Viola. There is a Denise, I think she's out of Worcester branch of OSU. There is a website for that, which is, I can just type it in on the comments so everybody can get it.
anybody that may be interested, master gardeners also, we're trying to put together a new class for beginners. Normally we do it in the spring, but because of COVID, we've kind of had to push things off. We're trying to get that together for sometime later this summer or early this fall. Anybody that may be interested, get with me. If you'd like to subscribe to our newsletter, get with me and give you lots of information on master gardening. We have any questions out there, comments?
Richard, I just want to thank you and Jackie for this. It's great information. I I've really enjoyed it.
I think Dale had a question about pH. I lost it, but
Oh, yeah.
He's got, how much
Oh, yeah,
does,
he just put that on there. Do you see that, Rick?
I'm
That
gonna
would,
close my sharing screen, okay, Mike?
Yep, that's fine.
well,
Chats.
Ohio Master Gardeners newsletter, please. Okay, anybody that's wanting the Master Gardeners newsletter, if you just leave your email address, we can add you on to the newsletter, and I can forward that to the person that sends out the newsletters.
Okay, the question about the pH, within a given area, you have a natural pH that really doesn't change much over the years. What you have to be careful of is if you amend that soil and change your pH over a given time, it will try to regress back to where it came from. You may check your pH every 1 to 3 years, depending on what you have in. So yeah, it could be an issue depending on what you're planting. See, there's quite a few requests for newsletter. It's a very good newsletter, very informative. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about master gardening.
I don't mind gardening. I just hate weeding by hand.
It can be a lot of work.
You know, Gary, I just started backfilling my gardens with wood chip mulch.
Yep, I've read about people doing that, and it sounds like a lot of people's had a lot of success with that.
When you put wood mulch in, it has to sit for a year to cure out. Otherwise, it'll draw the nitrogens out of your soil. So,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
is
that's
a
good
good
to know.
nutrient. It helps keep your soils moist. It adds nutrients. It helps stabilize your temperatures, holds moisture.
Yep. Yeah, I've read several articles on that, and there's a lot of people have went to using that. I guess it's like a ground cover, and it does control weeds over
It
the
does.
term, from what I understand.
Yes, it does.
I had a question. I bought some pollinator seeds and planted them like in I don't know if it was early summer, but it took them a long time. I mean, almost till the fall to come up. So was that a bad time to plant them, or?
Depends how late you planted them. The ground, you might have had a lot more temperature, a lot more dryness. They might have got a lot slower start. It's good to get them in early in the spring. I've been told it's okay to plant even, some people will throw them right over the snow. They will not germinate until they drop to the ground. They'll kind of bond with the surface and they'll use the moisture and you get a nice early start for your plants.
Okay.
so are you saying, Rick, that you can just scatter them without actually planting them?
You can, sometimes if you rake lightly, it helps a little bit. The seed should only go in the ground the depth of the length of your seed, which isn't very far.
Okay. What about if you have, like in my case, I have an area where it's a lot of grasses and stuff growing. Would those deter any flowers from coming up?
They'll deter from things starting because they take up the nutrients and a lot of the moisture. Things
Okay.
will start a lot slower if they start.
Thanks.
Rich, I have a question.
Mhm.
When planting seeds, I'm finding the birds tend to watch, and then they come in and they dig them up and they're eating right behind me.
I've
Is
had
there
that
a
happen.
Yeah, is there a deterrent I can use to, is there something I can throw over the seeds, or is there something I could use that would keep the water coming through, but still, I mean, until they get grown. So I've always had to get plants
Maybe
that are already starters. I've been using starters because of the bird problem.
I don't know about your particular area. Sometimes some areas are worse than others. It helps sometimes raking in, and they will germinate a little bit better before the birds get them. You might have to net. I mean, it's a difficult problem at that point if you have birds. that
Or
are coming
even
in
like
your seed.
a layer of straw over the top.
I've not used a layer of straw, just, the
But
ground.
I recommend not using hay though, because you would get the weed seed from hay. So straw is very highly recommended.
I think Rick offers a scarecrow service for a price.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
No,
Getting some good information and comments here.
I could send my hawk that's been eating my birds that I'm feeding.
We've
There
had
you
one
go.
hanging around here just lately.
Oh, it's disgusting. There's bird feathers all over my snow. I'm like,
Yeah. Now we feed our birds. We have a lot of birds all year long, and the hawk's been hanging around. So
smorgasbord.
Prairie Nursery is another good place to look for ordering. What is that place, Rick, out of Perry's or Perrysburg or wherever?
Yeah, you can check with your local places.
they
Most of
have,
them will
like-
have a lot of good information on local gardening and pollinators and pollinator plants.
Well, Kathleen had a question, which I guess I do too, about using coffee grounds to amend the wood chips. Does that work?
I throw coffee grounds in my gardens all the time. It's a good compost. Helps repel some bad bugs too.
Oh, I have a lot of coffee grounds.
Scatter them evenly, or you'll get maybe a little bit of change pH.
Okay.
Well, is there any more questions for him? Are we? Anybody have? What's that, Tammy?
I said it was a nice presentation.
Yes, very
It
good.
was.
Guys did a good job.
I see one on here for you, Tom. When is
Uh-oh.
the pancake sausage meal?
Yeah. Barbarian, yeah. It was a year ago. That was a year ago that this month that it's the last time we got together.
Yeah.
Who won the 50-50? Do you remember?
You did. Yeah, the check's in the mail, so we'll get it there.
Hey,
I see there's
what I think a really good thing from this meeting is I think we've had the most success this time with using media during the presentation. You know, we've worked a lot on that and tried to figure out the technology, and I felt like this one went pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just getting a little bit on board with that now, so been doing more and more of it.
Hey, we all are.
Did a good job.
It's become a way of life here this year.
yeah.
We had a pretty good trial run Saturday, didn't we?
Yes.
I heard you showed up a little late, Tom.
Well, it was supposed to start at noon.
We were a
No, we
little
just
early.
started early.
Yeah, we were a little early.
They jumped the gun.
Yeah.
So,
So what'd you learn about horses, Tom?
what am I doing about horses?
Yeah, what'd you learn about horses?
Oh, I
Or
haven't
were,
found one,
or were you lost?
found one yet big enough to haul me around.
Ah,
Maybe Doc's. They're
we got
pretty
one out here.
good. Yeah. I like to steal horses myself. So, well, guys, I think unless we got some more questions for the Kindreds, I don't know what else we got tonight. There isn't. What more do we got here? When looking at seeds, they tell you what kind of things that attract to the flower. Okay. Oh, Angel wrote that.
Yeah, that's a good website.
Prairie Moon.
Prairie Moon.
Yeah, prairiemoon.com. A lot of good information. Thanks, Angel.
So. Well, guys, I guess that's it for tonight. We'll keep in touch and we'll get the newsletter out. And everybody getting the newsletter?
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. And then in April, I think we might try to have Barb Bloucher talk on just inspections and the paperwork that needs to be done to be filed and things like that for our apiary. But other than that, unless we got some other questions tonight, we'll wrap it up and call that a night. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie and Rick.
Yes,
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
great job, guys.
Thank you and well done.